What's up, guys? Um, Back at it, day 92. Now it's 3 days in a row, or maybe even four, and it feels already like so much. And today was definitely a hard workout, and definitely pushed myself a bit more than I usually do. So started off with 4 sets of 6 partial range pull-ups, and this time I really felt the difference with the fat grips, and it was really working my wrists. And I was really happy with my form and how it felt because I felt like I kind of figured out how to do it so that it feels more like um, more directly related to arm wrestling strength. Which, if I'm just doing pull ups, like I don't really feel that way, but this time, but yeah, 4 sets of 6 was definitely not easy because I have been doing. This is probably my third set of doing this, and I was thinking that probably I should have increased either the weight or reps because that's what I'm doing in all the other exercises, right? Um, but yeah, today either because I was a little bit tired or the form was different. Definitely 4 to 6 was like maybe like 8 or 9 out of 10 in terms of how hard. Um, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then I had back pressure. I would like to call them singles, but 4 sets of 12, 10, 8, 6s. So I started off with what I think was 75 pounds on my right, which it definitely feels that way, but it could also just be 72.5 because I'm just putting a 5 pound dumbbell on top of the plates. And I know for a fact that each plate is 10 pounds in terms of the weight just because I've like measured it, but I don't know if the plates itself actually weighs 10 pounds or if it gets like halved in the pulley through the pulley. So I don't know if it's actually a full 5 pounds. Maybe not actually, but for now I'm just gonna call it that. So 75 pounds, 12 reps. And because I'm trying to push the weight up and not be like go through this like cruise control, like everything is smooth. I want to push a little bit, so I sort of change the style of doing it quite a bit. Just barely getting it off, resetting, barely getting it off, resetting. Which before I would try to make it a lot more controlled and slow, but to push the weight, I had to um, push my form a little bit as well. So here, I ended up doing the last 2 sets of 6 reps with 85 pounds, which for me I'm pretty happy with, just because um, it's not like I rested up for a max, and way before my max back pressure, where I even lifted it off with 2 hands and then just held it for maybe a few seconds, and it like pulled me all the way back. That was 90 pounds. So I'm assuming that right now 85, being able to rep it, even though it's like very hard singles and small range of motion, I've definitely feel much stronger. And that was only like a couple months ago. So yeah, so that's definitely PR for me, which I'm basically trying to do in every exercise this week, and then keep increasing. So after isolated, pronation, low pulley. So these ones, I'm not so much keeping track of how much exactly I did, but I know that roughly I've been working with 25 or 30 pounds in the past, like 2 times I've done this. And I think I figured out way to just like rest my elbow on my body, and keep my arm relatively isolated. And this one feels a bit weird because I feel like I'm not able to get any pressure past like neutral position. So I'm supinated to neutral, and then I want to push it past a bit more, but it's not really possible. I mean, I can, but I wouldn't be able to work with the same weight. So just kind of really focusing on the bottom half range of the motion for this. And I feel it a lot in the bottom of my wrist and just my wrist in general. It's kind of seeing how my wrist holds up to this movement. It's definitely different than through your thumb or something that you're not holding onto, but I think it's good. I used to really like being able to isolate the pronator and just like feel it in the through the bottom of my forearm only, but I think this is actually more has helped me on the table, just grabbing something and twisting it, which I barely like never did before. So yeah, after these, so 30, I think I couldn't do the same weight on my left, but surprisingly my left like relatively kept up in all the exercises, and I didn't even have to change the weights that much. Um, Considering my left is like kind of injured right now, even my wrist, but I guess it's not that bad. So after I did hammer curls on the bench. For that, previously I've done 40, 45, so I did 50 today, and it was honestly pretty manageable. I think I could make my form a bit stricter in some areas and like mess around with a few things to like change the difficulty of it, but yeah, so I've officially run out of weights in my gym for that because the weights only go up to 50s. And yeah, so I think I was rocking back way too much because the reason I kind of do that is the bench like preacher isn't perfectly vertical, so my arms like kind of off the bench, just my elbows on it, and then I feel that to pull up, like there's room for my arm to slide back, if that makes sense. And I can't really apply pressure like with my arm off the bench, just with my elbow. Like it's much better to stabilize by touching my arm to the bench and then pulling up, if that makes sense. But I can definitely do it stricter. I think in the last set, like the third set, I was kind of unhappy with my form and then try to be more strict. But either way, like just watching the video now, it you can barely tell a difference. But yeah, so everything I guess is going pretty smoothly in terms of being able to up the weight. On my left, I was surprised I could do this. Only thing is like I was a little bit not as focused on my left, just kind of more casual, and my wrist was definitely dumping a little bit, so I had to reset it a few times, but it wasn't like after I reset it I could still hold it for a few more reps, so it wasn't like it was overwhelming, just maybe gets a tiny bit fatigued and I can work with it. It's kind of same with my right too. My wrist was kind of giving out at certain points, but still managed to get through, which is really weird because I've never really thought about my wrist as a feeling point before in doing hammer curls. I mean, I guess I would never have tried to like keep my rise so much before, but I don't know. But I used to think it was because I didn't have chalk, but I mean, because my thumb, like the top of my hand is touching the top part of the dumbbell, just because I can't stop it from sliding down. But I wonder if I had chalk and I could really squeeze on it, it would be any different. But I'm assuming it would be just about the same amount of pressure and my wrist would still dump after a few reps, which is kind of annoying, but it's still good. And I really like these for my brachioradialis, I think, the one in your forearm. So yeah, that was pretty much like the two main things that I was concerned about for today is the back pressure singles with the strap and the hammer curls that I'm doing right now. So both were really good. Happy with how it went. Actually, I should say while I was doing the back pressure at the beginning, I switched to using the judo belt towards the end because my wrist was hurting a bit, and I felt that helped a lot. So I might just keep using those. I'm not sure what the difference is or like why it would be better or worse to use one over the other. Probably not really a big difference. And I was also thinking of trying the back pressure wrap the way Reno Masick does it in his YouTube, like through the thumb and like bottom and under your wrist. So let me know if you think that's a good idea. And also, but at the same time, I'm not really deviating from the program as much as I used to. So yeah, these are the pronation curls. I think because it's more of a full like arm movement and I can use momentum, I try to increase the weight, but it was really hard and I was really having to like stretch the form, like the strictness that I usually like to have to get the reps up, but still did it. And I used roughly about the same weight that I used on the strict version of this, and definitely again felt it a lot in my wrist, the bottom of my wrist. But I think once I dumped my wrist a little bit and kind of pronate through the thumb, like right under your thumb of your forearm, I felt a little better. But yeah, so that was that. And then the last set was riser curls with the strap, and it says curls, so I'm guessing that I should just do curls like a hammer curl. So that's kind of what I ended up doing, but I was like thinking if I should do it like the back pressure singles or if I should do them like curls. So again, let me know what you think, or if Miguel is watching, just tell me what to do, I guess. But once I got tired from doing the curls, I kind of switched to doing the singles because it was a lot easier that way. And honestly, the weight is like a lot less than I've done in the past when I'm just doing this when I'm fresh. But before, like the last 2 times I've done this workout, like this program, like this day of the program, towards the end I was doing like 5 or 10 pounds on the riser, and today I felt like, not as strong as like it could be, but still held up pretty good compared to the other day. So that was good. And so just finished off with 3 sets of 12 on that. And yeah, that was the training for today. Probably gonna walk to school and back again, so to lose some weight. It's gonna be hard, I can already tell. Like I really don't want to stop eating all the time. So yeah, that's about it for the video. Thanks so much for watching.